Well, I had somebody ask me a question about starting the bagging, and kind of just be easier to make a little video about it. It's easier to show it than try to explain it. Now, this is my bagger. It's in transport position. I just brought it home from the job. Pretty much done for the season. It's going to snow tomorrow. But you want to know about setting the pressures and stuff. And it's kind of hard to see. It's faded. But I don't know if them numbers match up to anything or not. Right here's 500. And just adjust this down. And that's where I was bagging grass at. And grass seems to take a little less pressure for some reason. I mean, I don't understand these pressures that well, or how this corresponds. But when I was bagging corn, I usually bag up around this area, which puts it up about 800 to 900. Just above that's 1,000. So, and like I said, it's hard to name a starting point because it all depends on the moisture, if you're going uphill or downhill a little, how big of a tractor. I mean, I was bagging for one guy. We were going downhill and we had a 1086 on this bagger, and I had it pumped up to 1500 because every time it would inch forward, the tractor would actually pull it like another 6 inches. So, but I really don't even go by the gauge. I mean, I got the numbers picked out where I set at the start because I know about what it's going to be. But basically what you want to do is pump it up where it's going to hold it, and then you really got to start watching the bag. What you want to do is have it filling up the tunnel as much as possible. You don't want it, basically the top of your tunnel, you either want it like within an inch of going over the top or an inch gap in there. You want to keep it as close to the top as possible, as filled out as possible. And what I really do to start a bag is, once I get to that point and it looks like it's all as much tension on the bag into the cage here, what I do is I'll come back over here and you want to move it ever so slowly. Just let the needle go down until the brakes just release. You'll feel it, you'll see it jerk and kind of push everything, and then leave it set there for the time being until you're sure the tractor's moving. Because that's the thing, you don't want to pump it up too much because you'll be pushing the backstop, maybe leaning it back some. But you don't want it too loose where you're not filling the back to bag, because if you get the end of that bag too mushy or too soft, then it's going to pull in there funny. You want to make sure you get a good pack in there. So you mean, like I say, you kind of got to go by ear on it. Watch what it's doing. Now, like I say, I notice his backstop is completely different to mine. And like I say, the way mine sets, it'll start moving, where his looks like it's got a stand to it, and I don't think it's gonna move around like mine does. But like I said, you just got to keep it going. Make sure the tunnel gets filled up, and when it looks like it's really starting to pack, then you want to inch that off a little bit until you just get a little bit of a pop where it looks like stuff's moving. And the other thing is, you don't want to fiddle with that thing every 2 seconds, because the thing is, it's not really packing here at the tunnel. It's still pushing and packing, 10 foot back. So as this is moving forward, your back is still changing with the pressures and stuff. So like I said, you kind of want to keep the adjustments to a minimum, but if it's moving and it looks like it's not filling the tunnel, then you want to bump that pressure up just a little bit again. And like I said, you don't want to, you only want to maybe just give it a little bit of a head, just pump it up, like I go by 1 or 2 lines on this. Doesn't take much of adjustment. And like I say, corn is easy. Once you get a pressure set, it's usually not going to change much. What else did I want to say about that? Yeah, maybe think of it here. But the other thing you want to know is the bag came with a measuring stick. And that's what you'll measure here, between these two marks. And again, they really don't mean much of anything either. Yeah, you don't want to overstretch the bag because it, wet stretch plastic gets weaker, but you're not going to stretch it all that much unless you go like crazy on it. About all this does is if you have a warranty claim on the bag, you're going to have to measure, prove that the bag wasn't overstretched. Most warranties I see, you got to send in a sample of the plastic and this and that and the other thing. And in my opinion, the warranties are worthless because all they're going to do is give you another bag. They're not going to pay you for anything you lost on the bag or rebagging it or anything. So like I say, it's just a matter for warranty. But yeah, you don't want to, like I say, this one, it's not going to stretch sugar beets. Yeah, I think it's 440. Yeah, other materials, 440 millimeters. They say if you're like a 442, it's not going to matter much. If you're like a 450, yeah, might have a problem. But as long as the bag is about the shape of the tunnel, or what's coming out, because it's actually going to be packed here, but there's going to be a gap in the bag because it's not pushing into the bag here. And that's the other thing, you don't want to just push the hell out of it. And the other thing, when you're measuring these, you don't want to measure up close to the tunnel. I mean, you want to be back there about 8 or 10 foot, because the other thing that happens, this will be coming out the shape of the tunnel, but as you're getting forward, it's going to be like a silo, and it's actually going to settle down some and push out to the bag, and that's actually when this is going to start stretching. You ain't going to stretch much at the tunnel, so you got to just keep an eye on that. What else I want to point out? Oh, and the other thing to watch is, which I don't think you're going to be much of an issue right now, unless if the corn is really green, it'll squeeze the juice out of it. And if you start seeing a lot of juice in here, I mean, a little bit whereas it's turning ain't much, but I mean, you can see that in there. I mean, that looks like slush. It's all rainwater right now though, but I mean, if you're seeing just water churning in there, the best thing to do is, like I say, if it's making a juice in there, slurry looking or whatever, what you need to do is back the pressure down, try to feed it into the bagger heavier, and idle the tractor down some. Now, like I say, corn bag's easy. I usually run the tractor 1700 RPMs. Grass, I mean, I'll run it up to 1900 RPM, the PTO speed. But if you're making juice in that bagger, you want to cut that down so this thing's moving easier, and you idle the tractor down to 1500, because you want to be putting more material through it and less pressure so it's not squeezing it out, and it'll work itself out. But I mean, you only really have to worry about that if this is really immature corn. I mean, you're talking over 65% moisture, milky kernels yet and stuff. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about that. Now, like I say, corn bag's easy. Grass, and like I said, I don't want to confuse you too much, but I can show you something on these bags here. I didn't bag any corn of my own this year. I actually gotta go talk to the people again. I traded out some corn size for bagging, and it's that immature stuff. We were making juice in it, but like I say, it should keep well. Wasn't too bad, but Look, my mistake. Shouldn't be a problem though, but we never agreed on the price on the corn sizer yet, so we gotta get that settled up for the bagging. But yeah, if you can see, grass bags do not come out. Now, like here, this is actually pushed out above the top of the tunnel, but that's the way the grass was. You say you just don't want it consistently above there, but like I say, grass comes out completely different. Corn, it'll form right to that tunnel and come out good. But this is all I do. Once I start bagging, when I get going here, as long as it seems like it's packed in there and it's up into the tunnel, that's where I let it run. And like I say, these marks, probably if I measured, these might actually be stretched out here, right in that area. But yeah, that's mainly just for warranty reasons. But right there's soft, but it's like grass. That's the other part about grass. Moisture changes so much, and part of my problem, my conveyor wants to throw too much to the far side of the bag. I don't get much in the corner closest to the conveyor. I'm trying to figure out how to make a diverter in there for that, but yeah, they say just get a starting point, start bagging until the tunnel gets filled up. You know, it starts looking like you can go in the back of the cage here and just feel how packed it is. And like I say, when it starts seeming like, you'll notice it, like you'll see it, and the bag will be packed hard, and it looks like it should be moving, but it ain't moving. Just go up there and inch that pressure down real slowly until it just starts to move there a little bit. And then keep an eye on the tractor, make sure it keeps it's moving. And then you might want to just bump that pressure just a hair bit. And then, like I say, just keep it on. Well, once you'll see it. Once it starts forming out and it's coming out smooth, and it's got pressure to it. And like I say, you don't want to measure these marks right at the tunnel. Like see, what I'll do, like say, this bag is bagged this way, and if my tunnel was here, then I'd go back 2 or 3 of these marks and measure them. But if you're filling the tunnel and it's packed, you're not really going to stretch them marks that much. And like I say, don't worry about, it says maximum stretch. I think these might be like 335 normally, hanging on the bagger. And the max is 440. And like I said, if you're at 442 or whatever your bag is saying, they say it's not going to hurt nothing. All that would be for, like say, if you're over that number, they might not cover the warranty on the bag. But like I say, in my opinion, them warranties are worthless. And they say most of the time it's because you pissed somebody off and they might have came and cut your bag. I mean, I've never seen one. I've never had a problem with the bag, but I've had some of these bags. The one brand, we're talking it's 0 degrees out. That'd be another little hint here. Normally when I open up a bag here, I split it down the middle and cut across here and then pull the flaps out. Well, if you cut here and then come across here, if you got a little bit of a slit above this cut, I've had 0 degree weather when I come in here with the loader and puts a little bit of pressure, the plastic will get brittle enough it actually started splitting from that point. So what I've tried to make sure I do, if I cut this way, make sure I'm cut up this way so there's no slit past here, past the cut, and then you don't usually have too much problem. I'd rather have it split this way than going down the bag. But that was that only one to the brand bag. They say it just must have been different plastic, got brittle in the cold or something. It's usually not a problem. So, yeah, Now this is from the loader, but you want to make sure you don't get stretch marks like in there. That's what'll rip if you start stretching it too much. But that's from the loader bucket dragging on there. So yeah, so I just made this video to help somebody out, and I'm hoping this is information that'll help. But like I said, the biggest thing is pretty much got to play it by ear. I mean, out of all the baggers I've seen, I've never seen two baggers with the same gauges on, so it's hard to say start at 50 pounds of pressure, or, you know, you got to find a point on there to just start bagging, see what it's doing, and then like I said, once you get it figured out, then you'll have a starting point for the next time. So seems to me there's something else I wanted to point out, and I can't remember now. Yeah, I guess the only other thing I'd like to mention is these marks should be anywhere from the 1 to 3 o'clock range here. This would actually be 11 to 9, or like I say, this actually should be up a little bit higher. But like I said, I've done enough bags. I don't pay much attention to the marks anymore. There's just the guide anyhow. And like I say, there's going to be slack here until you get out of ways, and then it'll kind of stretch itself out and start taking the slack out of the bags. So I guess that's just pretty much roughly the basics. I hope this helps. And like I say, if there's any other questions, you know, I'm glad to try to give some more information. But Christ, I ramble on too much. But I'll let go here. Thanks for watching, and like I say, I hope this helps solve some of your questions. We'll catch you guys later.